Objection, a new AI-powered platform launched by Aaron D'Souza, the very lawyer who orchestrated Peter Thiel's decade-long legal demolition of Gawker Media. Backed by Thiel and Balaji Srinivasan, Objection lets anyone pay $2,000 to trigger a public investigation into any reporter or story.
Gawker has written an open letter to Peter Thiel, the Silicon Valley billionaire who footed the bill for Hulk Hogan's lawsuit against the media company. A jury awarded the former pro wrestler, whose real name is Terry Bollea, $115 million after his sex tape appeared on the site. It was revealed Wednesday that Thiel had funded Hogan's lawsuit, and many believe it was because one of Gawker's blogs tried to out Thiel in late 2007 before he was open about his sexuality. Now, Gawker has published an open letter to Thiel, accusing the billionaire of seeking revenge. The letter reads in part, "Peter, this is twisted. Even were you to succeed in bankrupting Gawker Media, the writers you dislike, and me, just think what it will mean. You show yourself as a thin-skinned billionaire who, despite all the success and public recognition that a person could dream of, seethes over criticism and plots behind the scenes to tie up his opponents in litigation he can afford better than they."
Former FBI, NSA, and CIA officers do the legwork. A jury of AIs from OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, Mistral, and xAI deliver the verdict. An honor index score rates the journalist's integrity. It's all straight out of Orwell's 1984. It will absolutely destroy the organic hustle of exposing the awful truth.
I was hearing something that we killed kids in World. Did we actually?
Yeah, for sure. They always die in war.
Anonymous whistleblowers, often the lifeblood of Pulitzer Prize-winning journalism, well, they rank dead last. Say goodbye to the next Edward Snowden, Daniel Ellsberg, Deep Throat, Tyler Schultz. What once dragged through courts for 5 to 10 years now wraps in 72 hours under this AI monstrosity known as Objection. The paper trail of power dominates. Humans getting to the bottom of human sources who risk everything count the very least. Institutionalization of the counter-narrative always wins.
The idea was that we could never win an election on getting certain things because we were in such a small minority. But maybe you could actually unilaterally change the world without having to constantly convince people and beg people and plead with people who are never going to agree with you through a technological means. And this is where I think technology is this incredible alternative to politics.
So brace yourselves. Expect more Stop Nick Shirley bills in a state house near you.
How are you doing? What do you think about the Stop Nick Shirley Act, AB 2624?
I don't know anything about it.
And do you think there's any conflict of interest there with Mia Bonta and her husband being the AG? That just shows you everything you need to know. These people won't even answer the questions. AB 2624?
I think you're a psycho scam artist, so...
You think please disclose how you think that.
Shiny new laws for taxpayer-funded buildings filled with lawyers designed to criminalize the act of noticing.
You said that I was stupid for asking you about your financial disclosure, but there's some discrepancies on there. Would you like to explain that? How did you make such a big mistake on this? You think you're stupid for asking me anything? I am? Yes. Well, what about the American people who are wondering how you made such a big mistake? I have explained to the American people. What's the explanation? I have given them the explanation. Do you want to tell our viewers? Because I don't want to tell you jack. How about that?
Go back to wherever you think you're from, all right?
Okay, so human smuggling, yes or no? Human smuggling, yes or no?
Get out of my face, you little fascist! Get out of my face!
Little fascist.
I'm not, yes,
okay.
You are.
All right, well, okay, let's go to Padilla then.
Fascist.
Okay, what about Padilla? Are you saying what he did earlier was okay? Going in?
The question isn't whether the old, tired, lying story survives. The real question is whether free inquiry, that frail, ridiculous, stubborn little human habit of asking why, can survive the crossfire of technocrats and tyrannical corporate swine.
I don't want to tell you jack. How about that? Okay.
John Bound reporting for InfoWars.
All right, we're here. Welcome to the stream. It is April 25th, 2026. Thank you for being here. the headline news are going crazy right now. We're going to get into it here shortly. I want to say thank you for being here. I would like. Okay, so I'll fix that. Dropping, I don't know why, but it keeps dropping anyway. All right, so thank you for being here. We're going to get into some more stuff about the scientists that are missing, the shooting at the White House, what little bit that we know right now, and Charlie Kirk, and we're going to get into some stuff around Erica Kirk, because it seems like that's becoming the new norm. Everybody's going after her, and why. And then the most important part about all this is why we're at 15 scientists either dead or missing. And we're going to get into that tonight. So thank you for being here. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do that now. It doesn't cost anything, and it sure does help us out a lot. I appreciate all of you that have. Our numbers are, definitely trending in the right direction compared to what they were doing. So thank you very much for that. Now, the John Val report is enough to get your feathers ruffled, would you think? Whenever I see stuff about people that are satanic or antichrist or, against God's divine presence in life and all that stuff, it just gets, it seems like I'll pray more when I see people like that. And I want to pray for them, but mostly for myself, because, when you get those kinds of people around you, like, Jamie Raskin and, all those satanic pedophile cult members, when they get close to you, that stuff can rub off on you. You got to pray it away. I mean, that's what I do. Okay. Thank you for being here. We're going to get into some stuff tonight. UFO disclosure is heating up. There's a lot going on with that. We got quite a bit with this, with that. We have questions. We all have questions about Charlie Kirk, and it's not going away. And when we're going to do a show tomorrow night. We're going to get into the Epstein files quite a bit. So I'm going to just put that on hold until my co-host is here tomorrow. He had a family thing, so he couldn't be here this weekend. So he'll be here tomorrow. So that'll be cool. Do a Sunday night stream. Every once in a while, it's good to throw an extra one in for for the people that can't make it one day or another. Because some people like Sunday. Personally, I like to chill on Sunday, but we'll get into it. We're going to definitely get into it. I got a whole bunch of stuff that we've been preparing for about the Epstein saga, which is exactly what it is. And I think a lot of the stuff that, well, I know that a lot of the stuff that's going on right now in the culture of politics and in real life things is all hinged on the Jeffrey Epstein pedophile cult islands, and and people and blackmail, and all goes together. And if you think I'm kidding, well, you'll see. And if you can't see it, hopefully there's enough. Hopefully we get enough out tomorrow that if you're still on the fence on why Charlie Kirk's dead, or why Trump's twisted, or any of the other number of things that are going on, stolen elections, and all the stuff, COVID. I mean, it's all connected. It's all connected in one form or another. I've heard people talk about this, I've heard people kind of saying that, like, Candace Owens is what do they say? They were saying last month or two ago, a few months ago, they were saying that Candace Owens is, off her rocker, and she's gone crazy. She's gone mad. I mean, she needs to see a shrink and all this stuff. And I was like, huh. So I started paying attention to every broadcast of hers, and I found out that she's not crazy, and the people that are saying that she's crazy must be paid actors on the internet. And so I've realized more and more that the people that are telling you, and this kid came out. If you haven't seen the thing with this kid that came out from TPUSA, resigned from Texas. He did like a 30-minute letter he wrote and read to everyone and addressed it to Turning Point USA about his feelings about what's going on in TPUSA. And he was pretty spot on about some of the stuff that he was talking about, because he was talking about the things that we see that, and some of us talk about and others just don't believe, or whatever it is, whatever the reasoning for not believing in whatever, whether it's the drones or the planes or the 30-06 or the more than one shooter, all the different things that the 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 exploding mic theory and all these things. And when you step back and look at it for what it really is, it starts to become more and more clear. Very much so, more clear when you just step back and take a look at it, because the Candace Owens thing has really opened my eyes to a whole different avenue of things. And when you take all the different elements, because some people have their own theories, and that's great. You're allowed, free country. You're allowed to have. Well, right now it's a free country. You're allowed to have your own ideas and thoughts and feelings about whatever it is. You're welcome to your own opinion, and I am too. And I love how Candace says, and this is my podcast, so I'll have my own thoughts and I'll say what I want to say because this is my podcast. And I think that's perfect, because everyone has their own opinion about things, and some of them pan out and maybe some of them don't. But, all that you can do in an investigation is keep hitting the pavement, working on it, just figure out what's going on. So, how I'm wrapping all this up right now is that when you think about what happened to Charlie Kirk, it was not just Iran, and it wasn't just the blue and white uh, country, or or the saga with politics, and how strong his his word went in politics, and how much power TPUSA had, right? They had political power. Had is the word. They've lost quite a bit of credibility in the last 7 months. But when you look at it all together, and you kind of look at all the different elements of it, it all goes together. Absolutely. They might not be specifically directly connected, but they are connected. Because if you think about everything that Jeffrey Epstein does, really it encompasses everything in politics, everything in corruption, everything in all that stuff. When you like really take a look at it and really get into it, and you know that's what we try to do here. We give our best to try and you know give you it straight and not beat around the bush. And whoever it is, whatever it is, we just tell you. I'm not saving face for anybody. Doesn't matter who it is. And so that's what we're going to do. So thanks for being here. We're going to get into this. I really wanted to start with this this thing that happened in the White House today. If you don't know, I don't have a lot of information about it right now, but I have a little bit, so we'll just cover that shortly. I was looking on the internet to see if I could find some updates, and I didn't. I wasn't able to make it happen in enough time. So Oh, but what I do have is this, and let's just roll with this right here. This is from the White House correspondence dinner, and there was a shooter that made it to the micrometer, and it ended up. I don't know if he's dead or not. I've heard conflicting statements, so we'll just play this clip and we'll.
I have been in touch with top officials at the White House. This is what I can tell you. And the details are actually pretty specific now, that the shooter charged the magnetometer closest to the front door, took a shot at a uniformed division service agent. And he, at that point, they don't know whether they haven't confirmed if he's alive. Yeah, the shooter is in custody, I'm told. At this point, everyone is okay. And the last thing I can tell you is that, the White House does not want him to go back, but I'm sorry, what? I'm having a hard time hearing. And anyway, the president does want to go back. The shooter took a shot at a Secret Service member just at the ballroom, which, Kevin, you raise a good point. How did he get it to that point? The agent returned fire. Nobody knows for sure at this moment whether he's alive or dead. And then it's created chaos in the room. But what we can tell you for sure is that this was, multiple shots at the closest magnetometer closest to the front door, and took a shot at a uniformed division Secret Service agent. And anyway, at that point, we don't know the condition of him for sure. We do know the president was escorted to safety. Everybody in the room, I'm told, is safe and secure.
The interesting part about that, and I forgot. I'll play a longer clip. What we do know is they're telling Trump, we've cleared the building, but we don't want to let you back in the building. This was an hour or so. It was what time was it? 5. It was a couple hours ago. So it was during the correspondent dinner, and correspondent dinner has all the CNNs and Fox News and all those people are there, and but they have terrible reception in the building. And so they can't really, a lot of people can't, put out the news like they normally would. But we'll follow it, we'll track it, and, we'll let you know what we find out here in the next hour or so while we're doing this. Let's get into this. I have questions about Charlie Kirk's murder and his execution. So let's start right here with this clip right here, and we'll talk about it on the other side. And I'll adjust my camera.
I have been in touch with top officials at the White House. This is what I can tell you. And the details are actually pretty specific now, that the shooter charged the...
Rob, you know what you're talking about. That's why we had you on. You know about ballistics. You shot bin Laden. What bothers you the most about this investigation?
Thanks for having me, Rob, and good to see you, General Holt.
You too.
A lot of things bother me. It bothers me about this. Nothing in particular. And it's not like I'm out there saying big lie or conspiracy or someone did it. I'm just saying I've been in a lot of shootings. I've killed more than a handful of people, and this thing looked shady off the bat. I mean, I've killed people closer than I saw the camera, and I've never seen a shirt move like that. That looks like an explosion to me. Just the fact that no one started doing first aid to Charlie Kirk, they were more concerned about getting SIM cards out of cameras, removing cameras, and then getting him off the X somehow. There didn't seem a lot of concern for his life. It seemed like just clean it up. And then, I mean, I've been told they paved it over a couple days later. And then you get Erica Kirk behind all the razzle dazzle, and she's really quick to forgive the alleged shooter, which technically says that was him because I forgive him, but that you can't forgive Candace Owens for having an opinion or asking questions. And they mock people by saying, oh, I'm just asking questions. Yeah, I'm a SEAL Team 6 sniper. I'm asking a lot of questions. No one wants to answer them.
And you're able to ask these questions because you've been there. General, same to you. So this rifle, this 30-06, it's a powerful rifle. What do you make of this narrative that the bullet might have hit Charlie's spine, which would explain why the damage wasn't what you would typically see with a rifle like that from that range?
No, that's not what happened. And this is the thing that hurts here is, and what bothers me the most out of it.
Wait, did you say, General, you don't think that's what happened?
Absolutely not. I'm with Rob. Something exploded on him. But I don't have to get into the details because I'm not in a court of law having to prove a darn thing. Here's what bothers me is there are millions of vets with Rob's training. Training in combat arms as low as mine is. I'm a pilot. But we have enough training to know better than the garbage that was foisted upon us from the Justice Department that day, where they seemingly solved the case in about 8 hot seconds. And we know better. You're not going to take a 30-06 with a kid who's never killed anybody up onto a roof. He takes his first life and does all the things that Rob says he did. So what bothers me, Rob, in all of this is that they know that we know better, and yet they foist this as the narrative and the parable anyway. Why would you do that?
Well,
why would you do that in a circus where there's so many of us who are already going to go, well, that's not exactly what happened at all.
You know, Lee Harvey Oswald, 1963 in Dallas, I think a lot of people never thought something like that could happen again, because now everybody's got a cell phone, everybody's got a camera, except for this day in September. In general, that's your opinion and you're entitled to that. But there is this narrative, Rob, about this gun. Again, tell everyone at home about this rifle, this 30-06, that Tyler Robinson would have had to take apart, get up onto the roof, put back together, and then he apparently jumped off the roof with it. And then he was seen eating, apparently, at a steakhouse right down the road, not that long after this assassination took place. It all just sounds completely...
Yeah.
It just is, it's hard to believe is what it is. And I hope we find out the truth in court. Rob, the floor is yours.
Well, I'm just saying, I mean, the screwdriver that probably wouldn't have worked to take it apart or put it together in the first place was left on the rooftop anyway. So he jumped off the roof and put it back together without the screwdriver that probably didn't work anyway, put it back together, wrapped it up, and put it nicely in a bunch of trees, then ran off and started texting someone like English was a second language. I mean, the whole thing's just shady. 30-06 is 30 caliber, invented in 06. It's a 1906 to kill big game. And if you hit something in the spine, especially a human, I've shot ballistic gelatin all the time. I've never shot a human with 30-06, but I know it would do a lot more than that. If it was just a 30-06 shooting too, that went left to right, not from front to back. You can clearly see an exit wound on Charlie Kirk's left-hand side. And then it just why are we supposed to believe everything we see on TV? Shut up, believe it. That's the narrative. No, it's not. I'm SEAL Team 6 sniper. I went to sniper school in 1998. I'm telling you.
Such a good point. Final question, General, to you. There was this guy, and the media and the FBI just labeled him a wacko. This guy, George Zinn. This is the 71-year-old guy who immediately after it happened jumped out and said that he shot Charlie Kirk. And in the moments, the aftermath, I was here in the newsroom, we thought it was this guy. And the FBI even said, we got our guy. Why would someone make that claim in a situation like that? I know that you don't have the answer to that, General, but it just was very bizarre.
No, but there's been a lot of reporting that he's got an interesting past all unto himself, and he's been at several scenes of the crime needs to be looked into. I'm more interested in a gentleman named Zach Qureshi, who it was tweeted out, well, we got our guy. They didn't name him at the time. We got our guy. And then 90 minutes later, oh, we don't got our guy. Well, that's 90 minutes that a real killer could have fled the scene. But if you're going to tell me that Tyler Robinson, with his background, is that cold-hearted a killer that he can do all the things that were just reported, and then he's going to show up at a restaurant and go, totally good now. I'm sorry. Make it make sense.
Yeah.
And then go ahead and hand the defense team all of the evidence so that they can get their continuance for the probable cause hearing, because that's not normal either. So follow the normal, boring steps to a murder investigation and just follow them transparently for the country, because it's high interest.
And again,
we'll all be fine and we'll stop asking questions.
This is just, for me, it's just about the truth. And we're just asking these questions. You know, we didn't get the truth in 1963. They killed Lee Harvey Oswald, and then they killed Jack Ruby. So we never got the truth. And I feel like it just keeps happening, and we don't want it to happen again. You talk about Butler, Pennsylvania. Rob, I have so many questions about Butler, Pennsylvania, and we're now coming up on the 2-year.
Yeah, so I know that's an older clip, but I played that. I mean, it's a little bit older of a clip, but the reason why I played that is for the exact reason that they're talking about, because they're telling us that, excuse me, that we don't know what we're talking about, and that this Tyler Robinson was the shooter, and just like Rob says there, yeah, he or the general took the shot, jumped down off the roof, or killed Charlie Kirk, his first shoot ever with a 30-06 from 144 yards away. Jumped off the roof, put the gun, somewhere, took it apart, put it together, did whatever, then went to dinner like nothing happened. Well, we know that's not a thing. I mean, unless they're, the person must really be, more than cold-hearted, right, for that to happen. So we know that that's not a thing. So anyway, all right. I told me tonight. Not used to the light. Anyway, so yeah. So and then you have after you get past that part, then you get to the hearing that they had a disclosure hearing, whatnot, this last week, and the prosecution is refusing to give the defense disclosure. And in every court hearing, you always have to give, both sides have to have the same information to proceed. And if one person has something that the other one doesn't have, then it turns into this back and forth, and then they can literally drop a case because the defense or the prosecution doesn't give, like if the prosecution doesn't give the defense proper notification and documentation, they can, the court can just, dismiss the case because of the prejudice that happens if one has something that it's a big old messy thing, but that's the truth. And they're not giving them what they're asking for. And they've had, 7 months to produce whatever it is that they're supposed to have. Because, when you, at the end of the day, and I'm no lawyer, but I've been in court cases enough to know when you when you have a case like this, a capital murder case, you want to make sure that everything's all the dots, the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. I mean, you want to make sure that everything's spot on, right? And this is a very public case at that. And so when you think about this kid killing Charlie Kirk, which I have a different theory, and if you want to know what my theory is, go back to episode 239 and 240. I cover it in pretty good detail about my theory of what I think happened. And, I would love for somebody to show me how it was something else, because that lavalier mic just doesn't cut the mustard with me because of there's just too many things that don't work. One, that the lapel mic is still on his shirt after after he was shot. So that doesn't work. Anyway, we're not doing that tonight. If you want to know about my theory, and if you want to, debate me on my theory, that'd be great. Episode 239. It's on you. It's on all the channels. Anyway, check it out. Let me know what you think. Email me, and we could have a conversation. And if your theory is good enough, maybe we'll have a debate or whatever. But I'm pretty clear about what I think happened. That Charlie Kirk was shot above the right ear, and this is an exit wound, and then he was shot in the chest. I mean, that's below the chest, like in the solar plex area. So that's my theory, and you're welcome to go check that out. Anyway. Where we at? Okay. Oh yeah. So Erica Kirk is at this hearing, or the prosecution is at this hearing talking about a speedy trial, and there's this clause in the state of Utah, the only state in the United States has this thing where if a person is the victim or considered the victim, like she's considered the victim, that they can request and demand a speedy trial. Even if the defendant doesn't want a speedy trial, they can demand a speedy trial, and that's what they're doing. They're demanding a speedy trial, but they're not giving them any of the documentation, the thousands and thousands of videos that's everywhere, right? All that stuff. And so let's listen to what this investigator has to say about this, and this reporter that's talking about this. This guy's actually, I believe, a legal tax attorney or something like that, but he breaks it down in a good enough way to where I can understand it. You have to spell it out for me. I'm about as smart, about as sharp as a box of rocks. Let's see here. Stand by.
On April 17th, there was an evidentiary hearing in the Tyler Robinson murder case. There's something that bothers me about this hearing that I've not heard anybody else talk about, and it has to do with Erica Kirk. A unique aspect of this case is that Erica Kirk hired a lawyer and filed an invocation of speedy trial rights. I'm going to go through this because I think people are missing what is really happening in this document. Erica Kirk is filing this as the victim. She is claiming that as the victim representative, that she can assert her right to a speedy trial. This is something that is unique to criminal cases in the state of Utah. This is not done in other states. In Utah, victims have rights in the trial. The first obvious question is that Erica Kirk is not the victim. She was not the person who was shot. How can she file this document? Well, if the actual victim in the crime dies, then a close family member can file on their behalf as the victim representative. That is what Erica Kirk is doing.
This is a Fox News alert. Erica Kirk putting the judge presiding over her late husband Charlie's murder trial on notice by invoking her right to a speedy trial as the representative of a victim of crime. You can do that in Utah. They're the only state to have such a law. And in a new court filing, she is accusing defense attorneys of dragging their feet as they attempt to kick the prosecutor off the case.
I'm going to show you what the law in Utah actually says, because I think this is important. Utah Statute 77-38-9 says, in cases in which the victim is deceased or incapacitated, upon request from the victim's spouse, parent, child, or close friend, the court shall designate a representative or representatives of the victim to exercise the rights of a victim under this chapter on behalf of the victim. Okay, so that seems to explain how Erica Kirk can take on this role. But wait, there's more. Section 4 says, the representative of a victim of a crime shall not be the accused or a person who appears to be accountable or otherwise criminally responsible for or criminally involved in the crime or conduct, a related crime or conduct, or a crime or act arising from the same conduct, criminal episode, or plan as the crime or conduct is defined under the laws of the state. That is pretty broadly written, and the intent is clear. If you are a suspect in the crime, you cannot claim victims' rights. For instance, if you are a wife that murders your husband, you cannot then walk into court and say, I want to assert my victim's rights. You do not get victim's rights if you are somehow involved in the crime. And the law actually states that it is merely the appearance of being involved that disqualifies you. It says that the representative of the victim shall not be a person who appears to be involved in the crime. If someone just appears to be suspicious, it disqualifies them from asserting victims' rights. People need to understand this. Just because Erica Kirk was Charlie Kirk's wife does not automatically give her these rights. She has to pass this legal test in order to exercise these rights under Utah law. In my opinion, she does not pass this hurdle. All these months later, we are still not sure of what Erica Kirk was doing on the day that Charlie Kirk was murdered. I have heard that she was in a parking lot at a hospital with her mother. I've also heard that she was not with her mother, but she was at the airport.
But that I happened upon some information that Erica was at the office of Hopkinson Aircrafts when she received the news that Charlie was dead.
What was she doing? And why can't we get a straight story from Erica Kirk? In my opinion, the fact that Erica Kirk keeps lying about her alibi makes her suspicious and should invalidate her from claiming victims' rights. Let me be clear. I am not saying that Erica Kirk is the murderer. I do not know. What I want to see is a fair trial. And what is happening here is not fair. The real question you need to ask yourself is, do you think Erica Kirk is suspicious? If she even has the appearance of somehow being involved in criminal activity related to Charlie Kirk's death, she cannot claim victims' rights. I think Erica Kirk has tricked the judge into recognizing her as the victim representative when she is not actually eligible.
All right. So, yeah. So that's the whole thing there. And there is a lot of back and forth. And I'm not pointing fingers at Erica. I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. I'm just following it where it goes. Okay. We're going to follow it where it lands. That's what we're that on the I guess when Trump when they escorted Trump out, well, first when the Secret Service came in back at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, they came in, they grabbed Vance first, and then they came back and got Trump, and when they came back to get Trump, Trump fell down. Pull that in right now. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this a video and pull these in real quick while we which one's first? This one.
Racism is down, people! Unless we get these hate crimes up, we are out of a job! No more matcha lattes! Is this getting through to you?
If there's not enough racism, what if we made racism?
That's it!
I just want to make sure I understand. You're alleging that the Southern Poverty Law Center was paying the leaders of KKK and other groups to continue their operations? Is that?
I'm not alleging it. The grand jury returned an indictment that says that. And so what the investigation found, according to the indictment that was returned today, is that they were paying. So Southern Poverty Law Center is raising money, asking folks to give them money to dismantle racism. And over a very long period of time, they were using some of the money they raised from donors to pay to, they call them field, basically to informants, for information, for access, to just pay them for certain, to do certain things. And so, yes, that's exactly what the indictment charges.
I've been on there 32 years, and my wheelhouse has been the Southern Poverty Law Center and ADL running the KKK, the Aryan Nations, all of them. It's come out. They got caught in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s doing it. It is well documented.
It's the biggest grift in at least modern American history, cutting into the literal DNA of these United States. On April 21st, 2026, a federal grand jury in Montgomery, Alabama, hit the Southern Poverty Law Center with an 11-count indictment, 6 counts of wire fraud, 4 counts of false statements to a federally insured bank, and 1 count of conspiracy to commit concealment money laundering.
They used the fraudulently raised money by lying to their donor network, thousands of Americans, to go ahead and actually pay the leadership of these supposed violent extremist groups. The groups, as the general laid out, include the Ku Klux Klan, the United Klans of America, Unite to Right, National Alliance, the National Socialist Movement, the Aryan Nation Motorcycle Club, and the National Socialist Party of America, and also the American Front.
One SPLC field source was even a member of the online leadership chat group that planned the 2017 Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, making racist postings under SPLC supervision and helping coordinate transportation to the event. This is the very definition of a false flag setup on a massive scale. As this debacle unfolds, we're seeing the full picture of a vast conspiracy aimed at falsely labeling white men as the most violent racist threat to the country, a narrative that continues to drive the Democratic Party.
Close your eyes. Remember what you saw on television. Remember seeing those neo-Nazis and Klansmen and white supremacists coming out of fields with lighted torches. And remember what the president said when asked?
And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally.
Their veins bulging.
He said specifically that he was condemning them.
He did not. He said he walked out and he said, let's get this straight. The veins bulging on their, as they were screaming. Remember, just close your eyes and picture what it was. Their veins bulging. Their veins bulging. Nazi sympathizers carrying Nazi fags. Veins bulging.
Now, in other times, Democrats and Republicans alike would rely on the Southern Poverty Law Center to help us keep track of the movements of violent white supremacy in the country. The Southern Poverty Law Center has been a vigilant voice in civil society against radical white nationalist violence and extremism, neo-Nazism, and other forces across the political spectrum that spread organized hate from any quarter. The president, however, wants to undermine civil society organizations and to reduce our ability to defend ourselves against the virus of racial violence.
Let's remember Charlottesville, where there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic hate. And what did the president then at the time say? There were fine people on each side.
Racism is evil.
Damn it.
And those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and other hate groups that are repugnant to everything we hold dear as America.
Not to mention fudged nationwide arrest data that mislabeled black and brown suspects as white, and major cities conveniently stopping crime reporting to the FBI after Biden took office. For years, the SPLC sat on the safety teams of Facebook, old Twitter, and YouTube, directly advising on what content to demonetize, restrict, or nuke entirely. They choked out dissenting voices during the height of big tech censorship, manufactured Gamergate as male supremacy, labeled conservative Christians and parental rights groups as hate groups, and relentlessly targeted Alex Jones and InfoWars, which resulted in the Truth Organization being put under surveillance by the FBI.
Charlottesville was mainly a bunch of homosexual leftists dressing up like Nazis who'd all formerly worked for Obama or Hillary, part of their art club. And then they lured a bunch of reporters there and some real white supremacists so the police could stand down and collide them into the folks. I pointed out that some of the same leftist foundations are funding the white supremacists that are funding real white supremacists in Ukraine. I got sued for that, even though it's, they tried to say that I said some cameraman killed the girl. I didn't say that the cameraman killed them. I said it was all part of leftists coming out to come to this big event and hope there was some big crisis out of it to demonize the right in general and tie us to Nazis.
The SPLC branded Jones a top anti-government extremist, feeding tech giants the ammunition they needed to ban InfoWars across multiple platforms in 2018 and wipe out his reach overnight. 4 months before Charlie Kirk was murdered, the SPLC placed Turning Point USA on their hate map right next to the KKK and neo-Nazis. On top of it all, This so-called poverty nonprofit sits on a near billion-dollar war chest stashed in global tax havens. The SPLC is denying everything and crying political weaponization, but the black and white evidence is in the indictment. The American people deserve better than being played for suckers by professional fearmongers. The entire country should sue. John Bound reporting for InfoWars.
Yeah, it's a great report on SPLC, Southern Poverty Law Center. Those people are absolutely corrupt, and those are the reasons why we have racism in our country right now, and really all around the world, because they really are part of that whole thing. And we're going to get into that, and then we're going to get into the White House stuff. But before we do, let's do this one, because this is probably one of the most important parts of what's going on right now in our climate, if you think about it, because you got the takedown of InfoWars, you have the Charlie Kirk assassination. I mean, remember I said earlier that it's all connected. It really is. All this stuff is connected. Alex Jones being taken down, all of us losing our platforms in 18, 19. I lost mine in 20, but like my Twitter and YouTube crushed. They crushed our YouTube channel in 2021 or 22, and we just actually, now that I'm mentioning it, make sure that you go to YouTube and subscribe to the channel, because we have a YouTube channel, and we've been able to stay on there now for maybe a month, which is pretty interesting, because YouTube has been one of the hardest ones to work with, besides TikTok. Obviously, TikTok is off the hook with their all their community guidelines that you don't even know what they're saying when they say that you broke a guideline because you posted an Alex Jones video or something. It's crazy. But anyway, point. Southern Poverty Law Center and ADL and Soros and Rockefeller and Jeffrey Epstein and Israel, and I mean, it's all connected. They might not be in the same bed, but they're in the same house, if you know what I mean. I mean, that's just the way it is. And so that's why when you ask, the other day I was somewhere, I won't say where I was at because I don't want them to get doxxed or whatever, but I was at this place and somebody was like, "Oh yeah, you got that show, blah blah blah," and they started asking me about what I thought about the Epstein files, and if I thought that Jeffrey Epstein was still alive. And I said, absolutely, he's still alive. I mean, somebody with that much power, you think they're going to let him die? He's got too much power. They need that power. I mean, so they just changed the face and changed the name and get him back out there because he was a hustler. He could sell and do anything, and he had he's like the gift of gab. He's like I always say, Jeffrey Epstein was like the dude downtown New York with the trench coat, and he opens it up and he's got everything that you need for a couple bucks. That was Jeffrey Epstein. He was one of those people that could sell you guns today and women tomorrow and drugs the next day and help you with your problems in that community over here and do this and do that. That's who he was. The girls, the pedophilia and the girls and all this stuff, that was just a small piece of what Jeffrey Epstein does or has done or is doing or whatever, right? So, yeah, anyway, back to Southern Poverty Law Center. Trump actually came out yesterday, and he had something to say about Southern Poverty Law Center. I think it was yesterday. We got a couple clips we're going to play back to back. Stand by.
How do you defend what just happened where your Southern law, whatever it is, has given money to KKK? They're supposed to protect people, and they're paying all these people, crooked as can be, millions of dollars going all to all these people that they're supposed to be protecting from, but they're actually supporting them because they want to have companies that they can protect and because they want to rig elections. That was all a rigged election. All of the things with Charlottesville, all of the stuff that they did. And you won't bring that up, but you'll bring up some nonsense. Let me tell you, the election, we were winning all day long. It's a totally horrible situation. Hopefully the courts will overturn it, what they did in Virginia. You have a grossly incompetent governor. You had a very good governor. He did a good job. You know, all those companies that want to move into Virginia now, they want to move out and go to a different location. So that's my opinion. I believe it was a rigged election. Virginia's known for it. It was a rigged election. They had a lot of ballots, mail-in ballots. Anytime you have mail-in ballots, you have cheating.
I know who these people are. And if you go back, we'll put on screen to Obama's counterterrorism national security directive of June of 2021. The first big thing he did within days being in, he said, our main threat is white supremacists. They're everywhere. They're going to kill us. Charlottesville. And a few months later, they put out that national security directive memorandum. Let's put it on screen. I know we had it before the show started. You go read the 30-page report. There it is. National Strategy Countering Domestic Terrorism. It defines white supremacy as the #1 terror threat. And it's the #1 crime in America. Totally not true. It's super rare. But all of it basically controlled by them. But they came out in the documents and the indictments that they were ordering crimes to be committed. And the Democratic Party, new documents have come out. The DOJ has them, of course, because they used to run it. That the Biden DOJ and others were coordinating with the Southern Poverty Law Center just during that administration to run the white supremacy groups and commit crimes.
We know that this investigation was opened during the Biden administration and then mysteriously closed.
And they run all the major white supremacist groups. In the indictment, they funded them to commit crimes, burning crosses in black people's neighborhoods, terrorizing black people. And it gets even worse. These people are sick, Jesse Smollett to the 10th degree. They're staging false flags to turn us against each other.
Just a few months ago, Jamie Raskin singing their praises.
The Southern Poverty Law Center has been a vigilant voice in civil society against radical white nationalist violence and extremism, neo-Nazism, and other forces.
Yeah, so before I played Todd Blanche talking about, you know, what exactly happened with this whole thing with Holder and, you know, well, Alex Jones talking about, you know, how they were paying to send weapons to Mexico to, you know, as a bribe is basically what it was. Southern Poverty Law Center would pressure people to do these things. If you didn't do what they said, then they would put you on their list, and then you would, you know, lose your fortune or whatever it was, or, they'd turn the script on you and make you the bad guy if you didn't do what they said. And let's listen to what Alex and Todd Blanche covers it too, but let's just listen.
Know that this investigation was opened during the Biden administration and then mysteriously closed. I really don't have any information about why it was closed. And then we started again last year. The FBI did, working with the U.S. Attorney in Alabama. And it's extraordinarily egregious. You just talked about it. But imagine a donor to the SPLC if they were told, by the way, we're going to give the money you're giving us to the Ku Klux Klan. Okay, like in some cases over $1 million. I mean, it's incredible.
Now, they say they're no longer using these informants in this way and that it was necessary because they had all sorts of threats against the organization, firebombing threats and other acts of purported violence. And that's why they had to use these informants. And to that, you say?
Well, to that, I say, for one, the indictment charges all the way through 2023. So I'm here to speak about what they're doing right now, but that indictment charges a long period of time through 2023. And second, and more importantly, there's no allegation or information in the indictment that suggests they shared that information with law enforcement. They have communicated.
They said they did.
Well, they have communicated when they so chose with law enforcement over the years. There's no information that we have that suggests that the money that they were paying to these informants and these members of these organizations, they then turned around and shared what they learned with law enforcement. To the contrary, or else we would have known from their own words that they had given this money to these guys, and we didn't know it.
Remember Eric Holder got caught shipping over 1 million guns, ordering gun stores. They'd say, we're going to indict you for something if you don't just start shipping as many guns as we can pay you for to Mexico. And it was going to Al-Qaeda and ISIS for operations in the Middle East. That's all come out in Congress. And then Holder would turn around and blame the Second Amendment, remember Fast and Furious, and try to overturn the Second Amendment with it. Well, it came out from the witnesses and documents and hearings and trials and all of it, and federal whistleblowers, FBI whistleblowers, it was just insane. And police officers that were there and just all of it, that the feds blew up Oklahoma City. We know the names of the guys that planted the bombs. People saw them doing it. What are you doing? Oh, we're with the telephone repair company. You know, like telephone repair guys. I mean, I've interviewed all these people. And then when cops investigated, senior police officers, they come and threaten to kill them. They've named names of the FBI agents that came in his office, Browning, the K9 head, and said, we're going to kill you and your wife if you don't shut your mouth. This guy's a Marine and stuff. He kind of got up and said, well, you better watch it. But I mean, they already killed Terrence Yeagy, who was the first cop to show up on the scene. I've interviewed his family, all of it. So tortured him to death out in the field. So the SPLC at Elohim City ran all this and did this. So I see people attacking them saying, oh, they're blue-haired, purple-haired, green-haired liberals that said, oh, let's go out and create racism so we get donations. That's not right, okay? That's limited hangout. It is an international globalist terror organization with MI6, German intelligence is the command center, with NATO funding them, and they have not $1 billion, but billions of dollars. They are one of the most powerful NGOs out there, okay? And so it's not under congressional approval. The CIA is involved, but hands off, officially. But through Georgetown, that's a major CIA command center, they are directly connected.
Like I said, it's all connected to all this corruption and all the what's it called, racism. They have other names for it, but they use this what's it called, what's it called? It's called identity politics, right? Where, they say, they tell you who you are, what they are, or they use you as an example of being racist, or what's the new one that they use, anti-Semitic or whatever. They use all these terms, the exact thing that they are, they tell you that you are, and that's how they do it. And if you don't do what they say, they put you on a list. Put Charlie Kirk on the racist list, saying that TPUSA was a racist organization, a white hate group. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, he's a Christian company for the most part. I mean, political, obviously very political, but yeah, I mean, he talked to kids at schools about how to live a better life and vote right. That's what Charlie Kirk did from all the stuff that I've seen. I mean, I wasn't a big follower of Charlie Kirk, but that's what I remember, when I did see stuff from him. He was always out there trying to change minds about, being politically, to the right. So anyway, excuse me. Let's get into this. So now, one of the things that's going on with this major scandal that's going on is Alex Jones's InfoWars is being so years ago he went through the court thing, and and I get these people asking me these questions about what about Alex Jones and Sandy Hooks. He didn't do anything wrong. He reported on Sandy Hook, and they used that as and I've played the clips before where the CIA used what he said on camera at a show in one of his shows and turned it into this big old thing and sued him for it. We did a show trial, and I know that most of you probably already know this. They did a show trial, 2 different courthouses, one in Connecticut, one in Texas, to find him guilty with no trial, and then how much does he owe? And that's why he has $1 billion lawsuit and had to file bankruptcy. Well, then they tried to come in. They said they were going to sell the company. This is great. They're going to sell the company to the highest bidder. The highest bidder is going to take over InfoWars. So they had somebody that was going to go in and buy InfoWars, and he was going to work for him. And so the courts used a fraudulent operation basically and gave it to the Onion for a lesser amount of money. They didn't pay anything, but on a promise to pay based on the money that was going to come in from InfoWars, completely rigged. And then the judge found out about it and canceled the whole thing. And then instead of them doing something like that this time, they just stopped paying the person, the what's it called, the person in charge of the of the bankruptcy has just stopped paying the bills. So now they have to move out, because if they can't pay the bills, they're in charge. They keep all the money. They don't get any of the money that's being made on InfoWars. It goes just whatever it takes to run the company, and everything else goes back to this holding thing for the Sandy Hook families, which, by the way, it's still in appeal. The appeal hasn't even finished, so they can't really take it. But so Alex is he's forced to leave the building and open up something somewhere else because they're not paying the bills, the satellite bills and all that stuff. So it's a very interesting thing that's going to happen next Thursday. We'll see how it goes. When we get closer to it, we'll know more about how it's going to go. And then there's the people that, he's been saying this for years. Yeah. And they keep winning. They've done really well at holding position, but I've watched him go through this whole thing, and it's just a trip. Can you imagine if it was you over something that he didn't do? But it's because what he reports on totally wrecks the globalist. If you're right all the time about everything the globalists do, and you're letting people know ahead of time, he told you that COVID was going to happen before it happened. He told you that all the things that's happened, it's crazy. All the things that's happened, he told you that they were going to happen years before they happened. That's why InfoWars is called Tomorrow's News Today. So anyway, stand by. Let's play this clip from Alex Jones.
They wouldn't tell us when they were going to try to shut us down, but they wouldn't pay the bills the last few months with the receiver that took control of InfoWars through the bankruptcy that was kicked back to state court. And I just said about a month ago, I said, I bet they shut us down on May Day. I bet they shut us down on May Day. And it wasn't a self-fulfilling prophecy that I went on air and said, look like we're shutting down the 30th because May Day. We later this week got the documents. We're like, no, we've been planning for months to shut you down on May Day. It's a communist holiday. It's also the day where the top number of child sacrifices happen. For the Druids, the main sacrificing, for the planting. When the Aztecs did it, the Mayan culture. And most cultures do that back then. But that's May Day's liberal. It's a communist day. It's a cultic. No, it's like they want to shut us down on May Day. And that, sure enough, I was like, who are these people? Well, they're occultists and people taking over, produced TV shows about loving pedophilia, Satanism, killing kids, human trafficking, children in cages, starving to death, MK Ultra, keeping children poisoned so that their minds are wiped. I mean, all the real stuff I haven't even covered on air. Well, I'll talk about it a little bit before they'll just walk into like a 5-year-old that's getting acting up. They'll just spray Raid in their mouth, just Raid, and they hallucinate, pass out, bleed. But he's like, you've been on the show 10 years ago. The writer shows his great knowledge. He goes, just a little bit of poison in their face, just so they pass out. You can have your way with them. You don't want to know what the dead kid though. A little too much poison. So when you see this, people are telling you, they're like, hey, we are card carriers, baby. That update on that coming up. They pledged themselves to Satan on Thursday. So that's who they're trying to send in to say they're us and all this. Just, you can't make it up. People saying, why are you giving them attention? They're washed up comedians. Well, so is Gollum is washed up. I mean, the Lord of the Rings is still an important creature. And so people need to know, like actual devil worshiping pro-pedophile people are the ones doing all this. People watch the stuff they produce. It's unspeakable. Small children defecating in people's faces and just everything else. I mean, it's like, this is what Satanists do. And so that's who we're up against. So that's just the facts.
All right, so just a little note from Alex Jones on InfoWars. We'll get into it later on in the week. Maybe tomorrow we'll cover some of it. But I mean, it's just sad to think that the number one news alternative media is being crippled. But he's already got something else that he's got worked out to go to work for somebody else. Under AGN Live. So it's alexjoneslive.com if you're looking for it after Thursday. Thursday night will be his last night in InfoWars studio for now. So anyway, just a heads up if you're looking for Alex Jones, that's how you'll find him. I'm going to play running out of time, but I'm going to show you these two clips. The first clip is where the Secret Service came in to the White House Correspondents' Dinner after the shots were fired. They came in to get Vance first, then they come back to get Trump, and Trump falls down or something like that. So let me show you this, and then Trump answers questions about what happened. Stand by. He was supposed to give a speech, but my understanding is they canceled it because of the shooter. So I haven't seen anything. I don't have Fox News or anything running in here, so I don't know what's going on in the news right now. So let's just follow this. Stand by. Yeah, so I guess he fell down. I was going to play it again, but I'm just going to go with this. We'll just do this questions and answers here. See what happens. We're running this together. I just downloaded it. I haven't even seen it, so I don't know what he said or anything. So let's do it. We're going to do it together. We're going to do it live.
Thank you, President Trump. There's a report in the New York Post that this assailant assembled his weapon somewhere on site at the hotel. What do you think about that? And I ask respectfully, why do you think this keeps happening to you?
Well, I've studied assassinations, and I must tell you, the most impactful people, the people that do the most, you take a look at the people, Abraham Lincoln, I mean, you go through the people that have gone through this where they got them. But the people that do the most, the people that make the biggest impact, they're the ones that they go after. They don't go after the ones that don't do much because they like it that way. And when you look at the people that have either, whether it was an attempt or a successful attempt, they're very impactful people. Take a look at the names here, the big names. And I hate to say I'm honored by that, but I've done a lot. We've done a lot. We have taken this country, and we were a laughing stock for years, and now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. We've changed this country, and there are a lot of people that are not happy about that. So I think that's the answer, Peter.
After Butler, your team for a while rethought outdoor events.
Yeah.
Do you think that you now need to rethink
No.
indoor
Well,
events?
but then you just don't do events. No, I can't do that. I have to. It is what it is. We have to do it. The room was very, very secure. He charged from 50 yards away, so he was very far away from the room.
On the video of how fast he was going.
He was moving. He was really moving. And the reaction time was great. Boy, those guys, they had their guns drawn literally by the time he was there. They were shooting. I thought they were very impressive. And if I didn't, I'd let you know. I'm not going to be, I would not stand for that. No, I thought they were very impressive.
Thank you, President Trump, and thank you for updating us on the suspect earlier. Were you aware of any threats? Was your team aware of any threats beforehand? And do you believe you were the target of this?
I guess. I mean, these people they're crazy. They're crazy. And, you never know. was very far away from me. He had to go through a lot. We had resources all over. We had resources sitting at tables, literally in disguise, sitting maybe at your table. Who knows? But we had people all over the room, so he had a long way to go. That was really a first line of defense, and they got him. And they really, they acted incredibly. No, we've had no notification. We had no idea. Go ahead, Kevin. Well, you never know. Now, we'll be able to tell you that maybe by tomorrow or the next day. He's in custody, and they're asking him a lot of questions. I guess they're going over, Todd, and they're already at his apartment. He lives in California, and they're over there, so they'll be able to tell you. Thank you, Caitlin.
President Trump, did the suspect say anything, or was he wearing anything that would allege some type of motive?
No, I mean, he was a guy who looked pretty evil when he was down. They had him down. He was fighting hard. He was, in my opinion, a sick person. Who would do that but a sick person? But I think you're going to find everything about him. No reason to talk about it now. But tomorrow at this time, long before this time, you're going to know a lot of things about him. They seem to think he was a lone wolf, and I feel that too.
Are you concerned about U.S. Secret Service protection ability? Several of the detainees take minutes to be escorted out of the room.
No, they acted very quickly. No, I was very impressed by Secret Service. I mean, I'm the one, and Mark Wayne, you would agree with that, I think. I'm the one that would complain. You don't have to complain for me. I would be complaining. I'd be up here right now saying they didn't do their job. Oh, believe me, because, it's my life, and I want to live because I want to make this country great. That's why I want to live. But when you're impactful, they go after you. When you're not impactful, they leave you alone. Okay, a couple of more. Go ahead, please.
Is there any indication that this shooting could have been linked to war in Iran?
I don't think so. You never know. We're going to know a lot. We have the best people in the world working on it, and we're going to know a lot. Please.
Mr. President, there's a lot. There's you as well as.
Yeah, so that's it. That's all we got for now, and we'll cover it tomorrow. There'll be plenty of stuff out. We'll get the shooter, and I'm sure they have video of it. It's probably public and all that stuff. So we'll get all the stuff, all the details about it later, and we'll get into it. So, all right. So where are we at? We're running just like always. I'm running a little bit behind schedule, but I'm not going to leave till I'm done. So that's how I roll. So, stand by.
I mean, if you want a good example of a man, Lindsey Graham. There's a guy right there. He's not even gay at all.
Yeah, that's great. What do you think of the Biden administration funding Ukraine?
Hated it. We should have been keeping that money in America.
What do you think about the Trump admin funding Israel?
Love it. I think as American Christians, we should also be Jewish.
What do you think about the FBI's narrative that JFK was killed by a lone gunman?
Not likely. You can't trust those guys.
What do you think about the FBI's narrative that Charlie Kirk was killed by a lone gunman?
Well, that's what happened. You heard the FBI's report. They make me so mad. Can you believe all these idiot grifter conservatives out there betraying Trump? The woke Reich. That's what I call them. It's a pretty clever name.
You agree with everything Trump's doing?
Yeah. 100%. That's what my critical thinking leads me to believe. 100% agreement with everything Trump says.
Even when he changes his mind or betrays a campaign promise?
He's never done any of that. But you know who has changed? The woke right. Fucking roasted him again. The Tucker Carlsons, Alex Joneses, people on Twitter. These people supported Trump for years. Then all of a sudden they betray the guy. Like, what is up with that?
So as a Trump loyalist, you don't even think it's been you and Trump that's changed?
No, I haven't changed my stance on anything. I've stayed true to my values. Unlike these crazy nut jobs.
Right. What do you think about Trump's campaign promise of no new wars?
Loved it.
And what do you think about being in a new war with Iran?
Love it.
Do you know you're contradicting yourself?
No, I'm not. Trump promised no new wars. Wars, plural. We're in a new war, singular. He didn't start new wars. He started one new war, Idiot. Trump didn't break any campaign promises.
You gotta be kidding me. Do you think it's okay that Trump just wants to move on from the Epstein files and not prosecute anyone?
Yeah, that's what's best for our country.
Have you always thought that?
Yeah.
All right. What about when you wrote, #1 priority is to arrest the Epstein criminals? Trump will do that. Kamala won't.
I don't think I ever wrote that.
It's on your Twitter.
I might have wrote that, but you're taking that out of context.
That's your whole tweet. It's the entire context.
No. Like the context of the moment, like in different times, different words have different meanings. Words change with the times. It's evolution. Like, get with it. And those traders like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massey, they're just trying to push this stuff because they want to backstab Trump. That's what they're doing.
So you don't like them?
Not at all. They're despicable people.
On MTG's tweet from a year ago where she pledged to fight to get arrests made, you commented to her, "Thank you, MTG. These Epstein criminals need to be brought to justice. You're doing God's work and are a true patriot."
Well, did you know she's a traitor?
All right. What do you think when all the leftists were calling Elon and other conservatives Nazis?
But just psychopathic leftists. They're just trying to smear the character of good people because they don't have the legs of truth to stand on in their own political positions. It's despicable.
I can see on Twitter that people like you and Mark Levin are repetitively calling other conservatives Nazis a lot.
That's because they're Nazis. Like Tucker Carlson, he has an actual gas chamber at his house, from what I hear.
I'm pretty sure that's a sauna.
You want Jewish people to die. I mean, could you find me a more unpopular guy than Tucker Carlson?
You say that Tucker's unpopular, but he's got the #1 news podcast.
Oh, give me a break. You actually believe statistics. Tucker's always been a fraud.
From this pic of Tucker campaigning for Trump, you said, "The great Tucker Carlson campaigning for Trump and America first. I love this guy."
Are you funded by Qatar? You seem like it. Tucker is. I know that for a fact because Laura Loomer said he is. And she's mentally healthy. And I'm really starting to think you're a foreign agent, maybe with the Soviet Union.
That's not a country anymore.
Well, it won't be a country for long with all the nukes Iran has.
All right. What do you think about the members of Congress getting rich off of insider trading?
Lock them all up. It is not right for them to personally get rich when they should be focusing on bettering the lives of Americans.
Since Trump took office, Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who's negotiating with Iran, is now a billionaire. Trump's sons have allegedly increased their net worth by 800%. And Trump's net worth went from 1.4 billion to 6.5. What do you think about that?
Hey, the world's a casino nowadays. Don't hate the player.
Any final message to the former Trump supporters that have abandoned him?
Yeah. To those low IQ morons, I would just say, you guys are hypocrites, and the establishment has your best interest in mind. Just surrender to it. Oh, dude, look at this. I love what Trump's doing with Palantir. Heads up on my dog poop right there. So you're doing all the right things. Earlier nights, more walks, better.
All right. So, gotta love JP. I mean, you just gotta love it. I mean, you need a little comedy around the way because there's so much shit going on. Lighten up the mood a little bit. What do you think, though, about this Trump? How he keeps getting upset in his life, and I don't know. So this person is. The shooter's name is 31-year-old teacher Cole Allen from Torrance, California. White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting was armed with a shotgun, handgun, and multiple knives. Now, this is unconfirmed. I can't confirm this because I don't know for sure. I mean, it's from a verified account on Twitter, but I mean, don't know for sure. It says here multiple knives, according to the DC Police Chief Jeffrey Carroll. So it sounds like he had a shotgun, a handgun, and multiple knives. I don't know how you get into Correspondents' Dinner with a shotgun and a handgun and multiple knives. But anyway, see what else is. The suspect emerged from a makeshift room near the no security near the bar court, near where bar carts were stored, according to the Post. Grabbed it out of a bag or something. Weapon was long and didn't look like a typical gun. Here at the event. So that's what we got for that. Anyway, all right, where we at? Let's see. Tempted to play. I'll play. Let's jump in here. Right screen. Get the right. And so, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do that. I mean, your subscription helps. It doesn't cost nothing, but we appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel, leave a comment. Matter of fact, if you have YouTube, if you go to YouTube Inspector Web and subscribe to the channel, that'd be great. We're working on rebuilding our YouTube channel now that they've lightened up a little bit and they're letting people like me, conspiracy theorists as they call us, back on YouTube. So if you could do that. Channel up here and we play this.
He was on like a year ago saying, this group kills people, and if Trump really goes for disclosure, I think you're going to see a lot of death. Well, now it's official U.S. government study. Like, why? They're saying it's 11 scientists. Folks, it's hundreds. But it's people over gravitic control. It's not anti-gravity, folks. It's gravity manipulation, gravity control. And it's people involved with the secret space program, all of it. And they're saying they're coming to kill me. They told me they are, and they're dead.
This dude, this katana wielding dude, made a really big deal about. He was like, okay, listen to me. It's been independently discovered 4 other times. He said it's been suppressed every other time. This time, they're waiting for someone to publish. They're ready. And on the other side of the fence, there's multiple parties looking at each other like, didn't we tell this bitch 3 years ago that we kill people for this? Is she not listening? What is she doing? She's still doing it? What? We told her we were going to kill her 3 years ago. So I have these two different scenarios floating constantly in my life where I have people being like, do it. You're the one, do it. And then I have multiple people being like, they're going to kill you. Don't do it.
Every day that I have on earth is a gift and a blessing, and I'm very grateful for that because, frankly, people are disappearing. Scientists are going missing. Now they're saying they're going to investigate this. The president himself is saying they're going to look into this and see if anything's going on. It's a little bit scary. I got to say, it's a little bit scary, but you guys knew that I might still show up even though it was last minute and I've had a really rough week. Like, that's kind of like every week, but somehow we keep on making it through all of this.
Daniel List, we've had prominent UFO researchers commit suicide in the last few days and die. We have all these scientists dying. We have all these Chinese scientists dying. You're a very credible, prominent guy. I'm not trying to be dramatic here, but have you started to get a little bit of your skin crawling, a little bit concerned yourself? Again, you know me, I'm not a dramatic guy with you personally, but I just wanted to ask that question up front. Hope you don't mind it. Are you getting a little creeped out here?
There's no question about it. And it's great to be back with you, Alex. I do want to actually spotlight that when you took on the UFO issue and started speaking about the secret space program, I noted a genuine uptick, and I mean serious uptick in your legal issues. And I noted it sometime back in 2017, way back there.
Trump orders a real investigation, so he sends out investigators, and then all the key people die. It's pretty obvious.
There's no question about it. And I will say that, Trump going on the record right there in February and saying we're going to release all of these records pertaining to the UFO file was gigantic.
To begin releasing government files relating to UFOs and unexplained aerial phenomena. And I figured this was a good crowd because I know you people, you're really into that. I don't know if I am, but so I'm pleased to report today. I thought I'd save it for this crowd because you're a little bit out there, a little bit. That this process is well underway, and we found many very interesting documents, I must say. And the first releases will begin very, very soon. So you can go out and see if that phenomena is correct. You'll figure it out. Let me know. Let me know.
We do know that General McCaslin was well respected by people who were pushing for UAP disclosure, including very senior people in Hillary Clinton's campaign back in 2016. We know he was planning to disclose UAP secrets in what was expected to be a Clinton presidency. And it's really interesting that this follows so closely, his disappearance follows so closely on the heels of President Trump's announcement that he was intending to declassify UFO files, a promise, by the way, which the president hasn't followed up on yet.
It was huge, and we saw it was, interfered with by Obama. So we know that something strange was going on the inside.
Are aliens real?
They're real, but I haven't seen them, and they're not being kept in what is it?
Area 51.
Area 51. There's no underground facility unless there's this enormous conspiracy, and they hid it from the president of the United States.
What was the first question you wanted answered when you became president?
Where are the aliens?
Where are the aliens?
And then in the background there, you had a number of people who were silently being moved off the stage and eliminated. But I've also seen how this works directly. We're talking about DoD billionaires hanging out in the background, hardware manufacturers, defense contractors. And if you have that stroke of history, when you look across it, you can see presidents warning about this through generations from Eisenhower, Reagan, and others.
Yeah, so that is a very interesting report from John Bound. I'm just glad that John Bound and InfoWars is going to carry on because I get a lot of my solid information from them because they're, one, he has 50 employees and I don't have any. I do this by myself. And they cut and clip video, so it makes it easy for me. But they report stuff that is spot on. And if you don't know that, I'm telling you that's the truth. Now we're going to get into this. So there's some things about Wilcock that maybe a lot of people don't know. I said it yesterday that there's more to the story. So all of these scientists that are dying, or killed is more like it. Share. All these people here that have died, the scientists have died or gone missing. 25, 26. William Neal Claslin. He was the one that most recently, a couple weeks ago. There's been two more that were confirmed dead. recently. I'm gonna play a clip here in a minute. I don't think he's on here. 6, 8. There's a total of 15 now. So there's 15 scientists dead or missing since the disclosures have came out, because they're talking about releasing disclosures. And what I was talking to a person today about it. They asked me what I thought, and I was like, I think they're cleaning house. I think they're getting everybody that knows what they don't want out. The scientists that have done this work for years and years and years, like Wilcock, don't want them to talk when they put out the whatever it is that they're going to tell us that this is, whatever this UAP is really, what I mean? Because if somebody's going to go against the narrative, they can't have that, right? Because this is probably more what's it called, confidential than any other thing in our life. It's for the government. I mean, it just is. And so like Dark Journalist was saying, that it seems like since Alex Jones has been talking about this UAP, the phenomenon, the lawsuits and everything, they've gotten worse and worse, and they've came up more and more. And it's because they don't want us talking about this. I probably shouldn't be talking about this, but I have an obligation to tell the truth. So stand by and let's get into this. Did you know that Wilcock had a channel, a YouTube channel, and he was on a few days ago. If you missed the show last night, he was on last Saturday, and he did a show where he said that you've seen it on that clip. Things are getting weird. I'm tripping. I'm scared. You mean, like, this ain't good, right? And he did like a 3 hour and 33 minute significance to 3 hours and 33 minutes. There's a significance to that. We won't get into that right now. But he was saying this. His last stream was Saturday. He died. They said he committed suicide, is what they said on Monday. But we know that he actually had said recently, including on Saturday, that killing, that he's not going to kill himself, that his life is worth too much, and he was very grateful for every day that he's alive. We played the clip a few minutes ago. But anyway, he had been under mind control most of his life, and it makes sense because the way he talks and things that he says and the things that happen in his life really reveal that there's more to the story. There's those other two. We have a clip of them. What the hell are their names? I don't know when we get there. Father and son scientists killed, number 14 and 15. That was just the last couple of days. Also, so that's what I mean. They're cleaning house. Hold on a minute.
What the hell are you doing, dude? You're going to lose.
Do you really want to see why this actually happened to David Wilcock? I'm about to show you his video in tears. Remember in my first video, I told you guys he was on the verge of discovering something big. Not just that, he knew things that were big. I'll explain it as we go.
It's to God. This is true, folks. You need to stop this shit. Some things I don't mind talking about. I don't like talking about this. What the hell are you doing, dude? You're going to lose. You're not going to win. It's inevitable. We already know because the future timeline is fixed. This particular timeline that we're on leads to your defeat. There is no getting around that. You are not being in integrity, but you don't care. But if you don't do this, we are screwed, man. You think this is all natural? You think nobody's coordinating any of this stuff? You think I want to talk about this? You think I want to be up here on the camera talking about this?
So what exactly is he talking about? I'll tell you. He has ins with a bunch of intelligent assets and companies, and he knows, based on Project Looking Glass, that the future had 2 routes and we avoided 1 route in 2012. It's very real. It's like the chronovisor in the Vatican that can show things that happened in the past. Yes, that's real too. It gets even crazier. Just hold on. He's wrong about one part and it hurts my heart. And that is that we will win in the end, not physically, not in the flesh, but spiritually, that Jesus already won. But not believing in Jesus, what he sees is the destruction of humanity, therefore he thinks it's the end. He knows the contract the government has with these benevolent beings of spiritual wickedness in high places. That, and what I just told you, is why. Did you know that David Wilcock is what the intelligence assets called a person of interest? What if I told you they were putting him under hypnosis the entire time he was a child? It's so easy for say, this person's evil, they're controlled, this and that. Not understanding they're in a very delicate, very adverse situation where they have these extremely benevolent societies that are controlling their actions, even as children.
Why was I waking up under hypnosis? Why was I walking out the door of my house in the middle of the night, hundreds of times as a child, and I couldn't remember where I was going? And at the end of the thing, they just make me walk back to where I was, and then the memory is lost. And I don't remember what happened, but now I do. Now I do.
David Wilcock was a targeted person. He was tormented since his youth. He was recruited, started seeing a truth that whatever he was working for is benevolent. The whole story will be on YT.
Crazy. That's crazy, crazy, crazy. We got another one here.
Very evil people are running the planet and want to kill you. And they're trying to do that, and they're aggressively pursuing this goal right now. There are 2 lines of reality in the world. In one reality, you are believing everything that they tell you, and you can't understand why things are so crazy. Those people who want to live in that denial, they are being battered by experience, they are being battered by information, they are being battered by consciousness, and they are seeing all of these things come in to their reality, whether they like it or not. Those of us in the truth community say, we don't understand why people can't conceptualize such simple things. This is simple information. Why can't you understand something that's so easy? Please try to have more compassion for these people who are suffering and understand that it has nothing to do with the simplicity of the concept. The concept is very simple. Very evil people are running the planet and want to kill you. And they're trying to do that, and they're aggressively pursuing this goal right now. Anyone could theoretically be a philosopher and say, well, I don't believe this, and it makes me scared, and it makes me feel unsafe. But hypothetically, theoretically, maybe perhaps, just in case, what if it's real? Your maturation is the awakening that you are in a hero's journey, that there is a huge villain, and you better get off your ass and fight him before he kills you. That's what's so hard to understand. The alchemy of the galaxy, the alchemy of Jesus Christ, is that you will become like him. John 14:12. As I do these things, so shall you do them, and greater things. So when we're looking at the possibility of liberating ourselves from the suffering that so many people have, it ultimately comes with the understanding that you cannot die. You cannot die. You are not threatened by anything. You have nothing to worry about. And this whole entire world, as traditional as it seems to be, is actually a reality construct. It's not real. It's an illusory reality. That's the awakening. That's why people have a hard time seeing something that, oh, it's so simple. Why can't they see it? It's such an easy thing to understand. No, it's a paradigm shift. It's coming to realize that everything you ever thought was true in your life is a freaking lie. You were lied to about every single thing. There are satanic communities where everybody's in on it, and they have mind control where you don't know they did anything. And they do it so well that you can't remember that they did anything. Hypnosis is a lot scarier than I thought, and it's been used a lot more than I thought. And so many victims are not aware that anything ever even happened to them. I have a personal stake in getting rid of these things because they abused me, and I am not happy about it. And if you think this is fake and you want to laugh at me, and you think that I'm making up abuse memories and that this shit didn't really happen to me,
So, I mean, that tells you everything you need to know about this. And I've heard for years that it's an illusion, that everything's an illusion, and that everything's fake, nothing's real. We've been lied to our whole life. Everything that we thought we knew is not true. And, you know, I took that with a grain of salt. And now I'm starting to see things that I never really realized or seen before. And as these scientists are getting taken out one after another, and I have a theory. I don't know if my theory's good or if it's just me having a thought, but that if they go for, if they, you know, they snatch them up like that girl that was walking 20 feet away from her husband on a hiking trail, just vanished in thin air, just vanished, right? I can't remember her name, but you know, or Anna, she got run over by a car, got paralyzed, and she was like the head researcher, you know, this Chinese researcher that wouldn't, China was trying to get her to come back to China, and she refused them. And the next thing you know, she was ran over and paralyzed. I mean, this is what they do to these people. If they don't go with what they want, they shut them up, or they, you know, they kill them, or they, you know, whatever, or they mind control them so they become vegetables or whatever they do. But this is part of that gate thing. The gate program is another part of this, because what they do is they get these smart kids and they get them under mind control, and they do all these things that we've heard about all these years about mind control and different things. But now let's look at this. Father and son scientists killed, number 14 and 15. Stand by.
Two more scientists that worked with NASA have just died in a private plane crash, and this time it's a father and son, marking number 14 and 15 in the growing list that have recently vanished or been found dead. The father, James Moffett, spent 2 decades working for the military and directly with NASA before he moved on to advanced aerospace research. And his son, Andrew, was a research engineer and scientist that also worked with NASA and propulsion systems at the University of Alabama in Huntsville. Why does that sound familiar?
I'm in Huntsville, Alabama. I know I've said that several times. We're the Rocket City. We're the biggest steal you've never heard of. We won the space race here in Alabama, whether you've heard of it or not.
The whole Huntsville family was on board when the plane crashed for reasons unknown, and authorities are saying that the investigation is going to take about a year. If you're wondering how we went from number 12 on the list, David Wilcock, number 14 and number 15, Joshua LeBlanc, a NASA scientist that vanished last June, was found burned in his Tesla, marking number 13. Oh, I don't know what's going on or why these scientists are being taken out, but what I do know is that it's not,
I don't know, coincidence, if you whatever you want to call it. But
as always, I want to hear what you think about all of this down below.
Yeah, so it's getting weird, right? Very, very strange. Very, very strange. The whole thing is just absolutely crazy. I got more, so stand by. Out of the way. And
I keep trying to warn everybody about what's coming here in America, and it's not aliens. All of this is a psyop because our government already has this technology, and they need to figure out a way to release it to the public without telling you that they've had it in their possession, they've been hiding it, and this technology could have saved millions of lives and changed the course of history for the entire world, including humanity. Yeah, that's a big pill to swallow. Everything that you've been told through your entire life is a lie. Your government has the ability to cure every disease. The earth isn't round. There's land past the ice wall. Everything in your reality is about to change, including our mental capacity to do things like travel long distances in very short periods of time. We're talking about going into a portal. Don't understand the technology, but walking into a portal, it basically tears space-time, and then you walk out the other side. It's just like you're opening a door and going from one reality to the next. But they have the ability to transport you across space and time. They also have zero gravity technology, which is why our militaries film these crafts that are traveling at 500 knots per second, sustained underwater. They need to somehow reveal this technology to us. So when you hear this reporting from Shadow the Ezra and OpenAI, Shadow, my man, if you guys aren't following Shadow, he's one of the best accounts on X to follow. He says a former employee at OpenAI is blowing the whistle on Sam Altman, claiming he is building up portals and summoning aliens using artificial intelligence. The portals are reportedly located in the United States of China, with a new one added in the Middle East. We're building portals from which we're genuinely summoning aliens. Check this video out and don't go anywhere because I'm going to show you how this all comes together right after this.
This kind of AI capacity is shaping the balance of power between nations and all of our security. One former OpenAI executive said, quote, "We're building portals from which we're genuinely summoning aliens. The portals currently exist in the United States and China, and Sam has added one in the Middle East. It's just like wildly important to get how scary that should be."
So now I want to play probably one of the most hidden. I've almost never seen anybody else share this video besides myself, and I've relentlessly shared it time and time again, and it always gets buried and hidden in the algorithms, and I can't stop but think to myself, like, this is a Space Force general at Hillsdale College talking about this type of advanced technology 6 years ago. So if it was developmental then, where do you think it's at now? And if our government's known about it, you don't think that they're taking advantage of technology like this?
Energy, the seed corn of all development, all growth, all survival, energy. So energy, transportation, information, and manufacturing, these are the things that change humanity, that will change world power, and they are descending upon us in ways that are very unique. The technology is on the engineering benches today, but most Americans and most in Congress have not had time to really look deeply at what's going on here. But I've had the benefit of 33 years of studying and becoming friends with these engineers and these scientists. This technology can be built today with technology that is not developmental to deliver any human being from any place on planet Earth to any other place in less than an hour, to deliver Wi-Fi from space where you never need a cell tower to connect, to deliver energy from space where you never have to plug your phone in and it trickle charges and you can use that energy over time. It can be applied to cars, to houses. The technology of Edison and Tesla that we live with in our energy environment, our paradigm today, is expensive, it's dangerous, and it's wasteful. Plug it into the wall, but yet that's what we all do because we are used to paradigms. The power of space will change world power forever. And it doesn't have to be a big country to do it. It can be a small island country, let's say New Zealand. Because the technology, if optimized, can change world power, and there's nothing you can do if you don't have that power. The nature of power. You either have it and your values rule, or you do not have it and you must submit. We see that play out again and again in history, and it's playing out now. But we get trapped.
If I get killed and they say I overdosed, I don't take drugs, that's not true, or I committed suicide, I would never commit suicide, the prime suspects are the ADL, the Southern Poverty Law Center. I will never commit suicide. I'll never murder, suicide my family, any of that. And you have the head of the ADL a month ago saying we need to use the same energy of exploding pagers against Hamas, against Americans that say Israel got us in this war. That's a quote. That is a direct threat to kill people. And I believe now the evidence does point towards Israel and the killing of Kirk with the FBI's knowledge. We know they killed an investigation into foreign involvement that was flagged by the National Counterterrorism Center and by the director of Oversight over National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. And so if I am killed, because we're entering that wheelhouse right now because we're beating them bad politically. If I'm killed, elements of the Trump administration and the whole Democrat combine that he's joined with, the ADL, Southern Poverty Law Center, are the prime suspects. But I will never commit suicide. I love life so much. It's absolutely ridiculous. And it's just a total fraud. You got all these scientists saying, I'm getting threatened, I'm getting followed. They show videos of SUVs at their house. They're telling me not to say what I know about gravitic control. It's not anti-gravity, it's gravity control. Gravitic science. And then they're dead. And they're found burned up in cars and shot in the back of the head and all the rest of them. They're like, I'm not going to kill myself. They tell me they're coming to kill me. And a day later, they're dead. I have all the videos, all the stuff. I mean, it's just... There she is. They say they're going to kill me. I'll never kill myself. Dead. Dead, 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 dead. A whole bunch of people. Dead, dead, dead. Top UFO researchers every day. Dead, 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 dead. There's 2 dead in the last couple of days. We got dark journalists coming on the 4th hour about this. But if they think this climate of death and murder, intimidation is going to make me hang my spurs up, No, I'm riding out to the challenge. I'm excited about this. God's watching. And I have to remind myself to, when I'm in a parking lot, look around or, carry a gun, because I just feel so good about fighting tyranny. I'm fearless. And God says, hey, you have a responsibility. I'm watching over you, but you got to watch over yourself too. So literally the Holy Spirit says, you need to take care of yourself. So I'm starting to, okay, you want me to have more security? I'll do it. Okay. It has to be done because we got to stay in the fight. Trust in God, but tie up your camels. The Bedouins say, or Hunter S. Thompson, pray to God, but row away from the rocks. And if you're out in a paddle boat, the wind's blowing you into the rocks, you're going to get dashed against and probably drown. Don't just go, Jesus, save me, please help me. You go, God, help me, row harder, and please have the wind turn back. God, help me. But you trust in God, but row away from the rocks. Pray to God, but row away from the rocks. So I'm doing it and paying attention because you can feel the danger. You can cut it with a knife because the end of an era is here. A new turning is here. The great fourth turning is here.
Yep. I have one more around this topic, and this is a really, really, really good one with Ben Swan, and it's about the UAP, the scientists dying and all this stuff, and he breaks it down really well. It's a longer clip, but we're just going to run with it. Hoping I was going to get out of here and by 2 hours, but we're pushing it. It'll probably be 2 hours and 5 minutes by the time we get down here. Well, let's just get it done. Stand by.
It might be the biggest and yet most underrated story happening in the country right now. Missing and dead scientists. In fact, tonight, at least 13 high-ranking scientists and researchers have either died or have gone missing entirely. Week, so. All of them tied to nuclear, defense, or space technology. Some of them even warned the public before their alleged suicides that they were not suicidal. According to the FBI, the agency is now actively leading an effort to determine whether or not there are connections between the deaths and disappearances. So what is really going on here? Well, let's walk through this, because once you start looking at the details, it's just too strange. First, you have Amy Eskridge, a young, rising researcher, reported dead by suicide in 2022. But before her death, she reportedly said something chilling. Listen to this.
I'm scared. I'm tired. I'm real tired. I need to disclose soon, man. I need to publish soon because it's like escalating. It's getting more and more aggressive. Like over the past, this has been going on for like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. And over the past 12 months, it's been like escalating, like more aggressive, more invasive, digging through my panage, like digging through my underwear drawer and sexual threats over the past like 3 to 6 months. And now I'm like, I have to publish. I have to publish because like, it's only going to get worse until I publish. There's no way out of this. There's no way out of this up situation.
Exactly what she was talking about, we're not sure. But she said certainly had concerns, she said, about being watched, even reportedly told friends and family she would never kill herself. And then she turned up dead. That was in 2022. Then you have Michael David Hicks, whose work was connected to NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. Hicks dies in 2023, and details surrounding his death remain limited publicly. But his name becomes part of a growing list tied to high-level research. In 2024, former U.S. Air Force intelligence officer Matthew James Sullivan is found dead. Interestingly, right before he could testify in a federal whistleblower case about UFOs. There's been no release for a cause of death there. Also in 2024, Frank Mywald, a senior engineer at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, passed away. His work was on space instrumentation and detection of life on distant moons. His cause of death was never made public. No autopsy was ever performed. Another loss, another quiet headline. At this point, neither case is raising eyebrows nationally, right? But then we move to 2025, and that's where things get really bizarre. During the last year alone, we saw over a half dozen disappearances and or deaths tied to our nuclear industry. And that today is raising concerns. First, in May, when Anthony Chavez, a researcher at the Los Alamos nuclear facility, went missing. Reports say he just simply walked off without any of his personal belongings. Then you have Monica Reza, who disappeared in June of that same year, 2025, also worked at Los Alamos nuclear facility as a NASA senior aerospace engineer, helping create a special alloy for rockets. She went missing while out on a hike one day. 4 days later, Melissa Kaisis would also be reported missing, also in New Mexico, also reportedly got up and walked off without any personal belongings. Do you see the trend here? And just now today, we're learning about another death, the death of Joshua LeBlanc. This death taking place in Alabama. LeBlanc was a 29-year-old NASA engineer working on nuclear propulsion systems. He was found dead in his Tesla after a crash. He was burned beyond recognition, but his personal belongings were all left at home. Reports say his car sat in an airport hours earlier, but no trip had been planned. By the way, that's not it for 2025. As you continue to dive into the stories, the names continue to come up. How about Steven Garcia, who vanished without a trace from New Mexico in August of that year? Garcia worked as a property custodian at a facility that manufactures more than 80% of the non-nuclear components for U.S. nuclear weapons. Nuno Loureiro, a top physicist at MIT, the director of the Plasma Science and Fusion Center, he was involved in the kind of research tied to advanced energy and weapons. He was shot and killed outside of his home. And by the way, no arrests have been made there. And again, that's all just 2025 alone. Multiple cases, all of them involving people working at the highest levels of nuclear energy and space research, and most of them coming from the same state in New Mexico. This year, though, it's gotten even stranger, and we're not even halfway through. First, in February, astronomer and astrophysicist Carl Grillmeyer was shot and killed randomly outside of his home in Texas. Now, in that case, an arrest has been made, but the case marks another highly specialized mind taken suddenly and mysteriously. Then days later, William Neil McCaslin goes missing again in New Mexico. His work reportedly centered around UFOs and classified space programs. The retired Air Force general, like many on this list, also vanished, leaving while out on a hike. But again, like so many others, he left all of his personal belongings behind. And to this day, he has not been found. And that brings us to today, where just days ago, another UFO researcher, maybe the most famous of all of them, David Wilcock, was found dead in Colorado from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Now, take a listen to what he had to say on his final live stream. This is just days before his death. Listen.
Every day that I have on earth is a gift and a blessing, and I'm very grateful for that because, frankly, people are disappearing. Scientists are going missing. Now they're saying they're going to investigate this. The president himself is saying they're going to look into this and see if anything's going on. It's a little bit scary. I got to say, it's a little bit scary, but you guys knew that I might still show up even though it was last minute and I've had a really rough week. Like, you know, that's kind of like every week, but somehow we keep on making it through all.
Somehow we keep on making it through all this, he said. One day he says every day is a blessing and he's glad there's an investigation because scientists are going missing. And the next day he's found dead. Authorities claiming from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. It's just another layer to a massive and growing mystery. A mystery that is going nowhere. And today, as we told you, Capitol Hill is now taking notice.
If these are related, the reason that these people have died mysteriously and are missing is because of the intellectual property that by all accounts, the United States has the superior nuclear program in the world. So all the usual suspects, China, North Korea, Iran, Russia, they're all, on the suspect list, but there are a lot of, Eastern European countries and other countries that could be involved as well, or it could be a coincidence. We're going to try to do everything we can to find out and report back to the American people.
Interesting there. That was Congressman James Comer speaking on the issue last night on Fox News. Right? He's outright accusing China, North Korea, Iran, and Russia of likely being involved, but he fails to mention a specific country with a long history of tactics like this. Real and acknowledged targeting of scientists and strategic assets in that country. And by the way, who is that country? It's Israel. In March of this year, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu stated publicly that Israeli strikes had successfully eliminated top Iranian nuclear scientists involved in developing bombs meant to destroy Israel. He explicitly declared that these individuals were no longer a threat. In 2025, Joshua Zarka, Israel's ambassador to France, confirmed Israeli operations had killed at least 14 physicists and engineers, which he described as the brains behind Iran's nuclear program. And also in 2025, following US and Israeli airstrikes, Israeli military officials called the deaths of more than a dozen Iranian scientists a, quote, significant blow to Iran's ability to pursue weapons of mass destruction, using intelligence from Mossad to justify the timing of those attacks. See, this strategy is not new. When science becomes strategic, and it is in so many ways, the scientists themselves become targets. If you control the science, you control the future. Now, there is no confirmed evidence, by the way, that these 13 cases are connected, though it certainly looks like they are. There is no confirmed coordinated campaign by any country that we know of, but here's what we do know. Each case includes suicides, it includes accidents, it includes homicides and disappearances, many with hard to explain circumstances. And to call all of this just a coincidence means to ignore what is happening right in front of your eyes.
Yeah, so, I mean, do you think Comer's going to do anything? Do you think he's going to do anything? He ain't done nothing yet, so I don't think he's going to, whatever. I would have to say that if you're a scientist out there and you know about this stuff, you should be underground hiding because they're coming for you. You know, that's just the way it looks. All those physicists and scientists and stuff, they're all gone, whether they're, in a basement somewhere being made to do whatever they're supposed to do. Because I think that's the theory, is if they don't do what they want them to do, then they kill them. That's what I think. But anyway, what do I know? I'm just a guy on a mic. You know what I mean? Anyway, we'll be back tomorrow night, 7 or 8 o'clock. I'd probably say 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Look for us here on all these channels that we're on. Please subscribe to the channel. Check out the description for our sponsors, and we will see you tomorrow. God bless you all. Be safe out there. Pray for the missing. Good night.